Hey everyone, it's Val the Voice Johnson, and I'm here to let you guys know about a film I got a chance to see called The Color Purple. Yeah, so I am here, and I'm also on what do you call this Clubhouse. So I'm saying, everybody, get off your mic, say hello. They'll be able to hear you. Yay!
Hello.
Hey everybody, happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Yes, that's right. This is the very first. Hi, how you doing, Kimberly? And so there's April, there's Ursula, there's a few other folks that's listening in. And so I am doing a review of The Color Purple, and I had pictures and everything to show, but technology likes to act a little funky, but that's fine. We're gonna keep it moving and keep it moving. So what I'm gonna do is do my intro that I usually do for it's called Talk on Tuesday, but it's Friday. Friday, here we go. Hey everyone, it's Val the Voice Johnson, and I am doing a review of The Color Purple. Did you guys get a chance to see The Color Purple over the holiday? I know I did, and I had a great opportunity to check it out. Oh my gosh. The Color Purple, originally released in 1985 and directed by Steven Spielberg, had very unknown folks in the film. Adolf Caesar, Danny Glover. I don't know if you guys remember him. There's also there was also a very unknown talk show host out of Chicago named Oprah Winfrey. She was in it as well. And then there was Whoopi Goldberg, who was known on Broadway with a one woman show back then. But the film made stars out of all of these individuals. However, the 1982 book that Alice Walker wrote that the film is based on got a lot of criticism. I don't know if guys remember back in the day, back then, the NAACP and a lot of other organizations came out against the the show and came out against the film. The film was nominated for, I believe, 11 Oscars. I believe Whoopi Goldberg also got a Golden Globe nomination. I think she won for her role as Miss Seeley. And we're kind of doing the history of The Color Purple. But now let's fast forward to not quite 2023. Let's go to 2005 when Oprah Winfrey had a conversation with the wonderful and always talented Steven Spielberg about the rights to The Color Purple and said, you know what? I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do a musical version of The Color Purple. And I was thinking, I'm a fan of musicals, but why would anybody want to do a musical? Well, here's the thing. Oprah decided the best way to, I guess, display another version of The Color Purple to another audience was to make it a musical. And so Shazeen, I believe that's her name, this is Jennifer Hudson. There was another alliteration of it on Broadway that brought Danielle Brooks on, as well as Cynthia Erivo. She is the English actress that's known for Tubman, for Harriet, and then also just just her voice. And she also was in the Aretha Franklin series that came on A&E. Very talented women and individuals that have come on to do so. Let me say hello. Some people are saying good morning if you're in the business, if you're in the building. Thank you so very much. I'm also streaming on Clubhouse as well. So my family here, the after show crew is here as well. I hate that I don't have my display things, but like I said, I'm having some issues with my computer. but we're just going to keep right on rolling. So 2014, 2015, The Color Purple has a wonderful Broadway run. And then Oprah says, you know what, it's time to do a film. One of the folks that was responsible for, I call it coming to the to the platform to say, you know what, we're going to do the film. And I didn't know about this director, Bliz Bazalume. He is one of the directors out of Africa. And he did Black is King. That was something done by Beyonce. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. But he directed this 2023 musical. And I have to say, he did a fantabulous job. Oh my goodness. I was thinking you're going to pull in colors from Africa because one of the big stories that unites number one the novel 1985 film, the musical, as well as a few others. You had Blitz going. Let's take it all back to Africa. Let's do this. And they shot this in parts of Georgia. Some of the actors, and I'm bringing up that information that's now in the 2023 version of The Color Purple as I type in and bring this up. Usually I'd be showing something like I'd be like, here's a picture. Like I said, not working, it's fine. Someone else is saying, hey Val, good to see you as well. And like I said, we are, as I said before, time broadcasting on what do you call this Clubhouse as well as a few other places. So yeah, and I say hello to my LinkedIn folks. How are you guys doing? Good to see you as well. So there is an unrecognizable Fantasia in The Color Purple. Now, Miss Seeley, originally done by Whoopi Goldberg, Fantasia, who won the 2014 American Idol. I haven't seen her act in a lot of things. In fact, I feel like this is probably one of her first roles. You would have thought Fantasia's been acting for decades. The way and the care that she plays Miss Seeley, the way that she's got her face kind of contorted and all of the pain that she feels, you see it on screen. So Fantasia, acting girl, is your talent. And so I wanted to give you a major kudos because it's different. She's got to also sing. Whoopi Goldberg didn't have to sing. A lot of the pain was just there and on her face as well. But it was a very special way that she portrayed that. Now, let me also acknowledge our younger cast. We had Haley Bailey, who played young Nettie. And then, of course, Felicia Pearl Posse. She did an excellent job as young Celie. There's a wonderful scene with her in the beginning where she kind of goes off into her imagination. And this was what the musical was. Now, if anyone had ever seen The Color Purple, the musical, there was a lot of imagination things that happened in the musical. Well, they also mimicked that in the film. Thanks, Blitz. I think a lot of people decided to sign on to The Color Purple because they knew it wasn't going to be as, I want to call it, triggering or dark as the first one. There's an unrecognizable Dion Cole in the film. He plays the father, Albert, to who's he runs the store, and he's very mean toward Felicia Pearl Posse's character, Miss Young Theory. But of course, seeing Hallie and Felicia sing, you kind of go, I can't wait till they come back together. You get geared up for that. So they set the foundation of bringing both Miss Seeley and Nettie back together later on in the film, because that's the thing that mimics from the original. David Allen Greer as the Reverend, and he is Reverend Avery. So that is him, and then of course, who plays his first lady is Pamela Mann. kind of an opening scene that happens with Pamela Mann in her Sunday best. Everyone kind of in their Sunday best, and she's singing. And then you got David Allen Greer singing. What? So these were pleasant surprises for me. And I was thinking of all of the, I want to call it cameos that happened in the film. You're like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. And so, my goodness. So you have also Anjanine Ellis Taylor. I've met her in person at one of these major events I attended, and she plays the mama. She's in kind of the, I want to call it the memory scene. Of course, that tugged at my heart. I saw the film twice. I cried a lot the first time. The second time, I'll tell you the two scenes that got to me, and I was like, oh, I'm trying to take notes so I could do this review. But she did a wonderful job. Alfonso is who Dion Cole played. I did not recognize him. No funniness, no mustache, no nothing, no blackish, nothing. He was extremely mean, and so of course the two standout characters in this remake of The Color Purple is Danielle Brooks and Taraji P. Henson. Now, what I was going to do with Danielle Brooks, she reprises the role of Sophia. Now, she did this brilliantly on Broadway, and I had a picture that I was going to show of her on Broadway as well. And there's video of her being told by Oprah that she got the role of Sophia. And then what's been fun is that the actors now are been able to they're able to now release video of themselves being on set, and then she's asking. There was wonderful video on IG where Danielle was asking Oprah, "Come and say this line with me. You told Harpo to be," but they make a whole song out of that whole scene from the original. And so it's good. But here's the thing. Number one, you've got to be a fan of musicals. If you don't like people stopping and singing through what they're going through or using that as their lines, this may not be the film for you. And number two, if you want to see great performances by folks that you've loved in the music lane, it's good to see them act. Her is in here playing Squeak. Her real name is Gabriella Wilson, and a lot of young people love her. She's got great music. I'm a fan of her as well. She does a great job, and I believe I'm trying to remember the young lady who did her role in the original film. Uh, and I see her face, and you're just a big old heifer, ha ha ha. But that line is not said. There are a couple of things that have changed from the original film to this musical film. And so people have to remember that. And now, Taraji. Taraji as Shug Avery. Whoo! That's all I can say. But ultimately, very similar to Margaret Avery, she is kind of the relief for the pain that Miss Celia is going through, and she represents kind of the thing that Miss Seeley has missed. Now, if you know the story, Mister gets upset and then he pushes her sister away. Now, okay, Danny Glover versus Colin Domingo, different. You have Colin doing his character as Mister. You see him with a banjo throughout the whole film. He's got some kind of musical. He's got that musical instrument, the banjo. I'm like, well, that's different. Danny Glover didn't have a banjo, but have to remind myself it's a musical. So keep that in mind. But Colin plays Mister with a very nuanced way where you see him give it to Celia and just kind of upset with her. There was some very clever ways that Blitz used the camera, like I don't want to see everything crazy, so we're going to switch things around, and I appreciated that. But of course, there's a redemption for Mister, and we see that in this film. I don't know if it was clear in the '85 version, but definitely we see a redemption there. Corey Hawkins, and this is a picture I actually can show. Now, Corey Hawkins is someone I met. You guys can't quite see this. I met him in New York last year. He was doing a play with Yaya. I don't want to butcher his name, but Yaya was in the Aquaman film recently. They did the Tony Award winning play, and why is it going away from my mind? I can't remember the name of the play. But anyway, I saw Corey and I asked him, I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm working on something big." And that's all he would tell me. And now I know what Corey was working on. I was working on being Harpo. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exciting. So Corey does a great job as Harpo. And his chemistry between him and Danielle Brooks and Sophia, it works. It definitely works. And so, like I said, it was good seeing John Baptiste. He's in there as Grady, kind of the new man for for Shug. And then, of course, uh, just a lot of folks that I'm looking at. Louis Gossett Jr. Now, I noticed, Blitz, you did this. The first time we see Louis as Mr.'s father, you don't really focus in on him because, you know, Louis has aged, and so we see him very clearly later on in the film when Celie becomes Fantasia and then grows up. So I have to say, have I mentioned everybody that I want to mention? Yes, I have. And so I tell you guys, please go ahead and check this out. I was very impressed with the film. And what I will say, you have to be a fan of musicals. If you don't like musicals, this is a film you probably would be like, you know what, I'm not going to see because I don't like musicals. But if you're a fan of Fantasia, if you're a fan of Taraji, if you're a fan of Pamela Mann, her, Haley Bailey, Sierra, who I didn't mention, it was good hearing her voice blend very well with Fantasia towards the end of the film. That ending scene, I came back to the film to see that ending scene. And they sang it with the beautiful wonderfulness and care that they did for the original musical in '05 on Broadway and again in 2014 and 2015 for Broadway. So now I'm going to go on to, and I'm going to talk about this more on my platform, Talk on Tuesdays. Taraji P. Henson, during the press tour, started to bring up and talks about the disparity in pay. Now, we all know that the actors last year in 2023, along with the writers, went on strike. Now, a lot of that had to do with making sure that they got their money with streaming because things are totally different from the contract that was negotiated, I want to say in 2007, when the last strike was with the writers. And I don't know if the actors were on strike at that time, but I do know this. They said since the 1960s, this was the first time that the actors and the writers came together and was on strike at the same time. But it was good to hear Taraji break down exactly how much money goes toward number one, taxes per team, and then actually comes back to her. And I don't know if you all know, she's been acting since Baby Boy, which was 2000, and she's been in the game, in the business for a very long time. But unfortunately, a lot of the actors have been told that, especially actors of color, that your story doesn't resonate overseas. So we don't want to spend this amount of money paying you. And for Taraji to become emotional, and this was an interview, group interview that was done with the actors, and I would show a clip if I could, but I can't because things are not working, which is fine. But she got very emotional, saying that if I don't speak up now, what will that mean for the actresses behind me, like Danielle Brooks, like Haley Bailey, or her, or anyone else that wants Fantasia, the women that are coming behind her to act. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, maybe she shouldn't have spoken up. She should have just focused in on promoting the film. And maybe when speaking up about it, maybe it hurt the ticket sales. But keep in mind, the ticket sales on Christmas Day was at 18 million. The final total was around 50 million after it. Wonka did the vast majority of the business for the end of 2023. But people were coming out to support the color purple, and of course, a lot of heat Oprah's been taking because she's one of the producers, but she's not the only producer. She's one of the producers. So I'm thinking, could the other producers could have come up with more money to pay Danielle Brooks and who is this? Also Fantasia, and then also Taraji P. Henson. Because if you see anyone that's on the poster, their names are listed, they're the ones carrying the weight of the film. However, here's the thing. Taraji did good to speak up, and I'm grateful that she did. I didn't know. I didn't know that 30% of her salary goes towards her people. I didn't know that. I said, "Oh, she's worth this amount of money." I'm like, "Well, how much is that going?" And here's the thing: Taraji and I are around the same age, we're early 50s. I'm happy about that. And Taraji looks phenomenal. But here's the thing: if you need to pay the actors what they're worth, and if they're bringing talent like singing as well as acting and a name recognition, because I don't know if anyone else was in the seat because of Taraji. I was in the seat because of Taraji. I know about Danielle. I'm a fan of Fantasia. I know about David Allen Greer. I know about Louis Gossett Jr. But for it to be one of the leads, yes. So I think she was paid 500K for her role as Shug Avery. And then there was another interview that she did where she really broke down and said that, this is what happened. Now she never names Oprah, and there's a whole bunch of controversy that's now come out. Yeah, 50 Cent coming into the conversation. You had um, Shannon Sharp coming into the conversation. There's a lot of people that's talking about it, but ultimately, this is my view on it. Taraji, continue to speak up. Thank you so very much for using your voice for good. And here's the thing: my prayer is that your contemporaries acknowledge you and get you nominated. And here's the other thing: I know we're going to acknowledge you in NAACP Image Awards. I know that's coming. But here's the thing: for the next role that you take on, let them know I've been in this business and I am worth whatever dollar you would pay. And it's going to happen. And here's the thing: her speaking up will give the voice to other actors of color to speak up about what they require in their salary. And here's the thing: you might have to turn some things down. But Taraji, I'm rooting for you. Now, for all the haters that saying, she shouldn't have said anything, and why did she, what did, please have several seats. I am rooting for all actors to get paid their worth, especially women of color. And I am so grateful that she spoke up. Please continue to do so. And like I said, I'm excited for this film. Now, did this deter any of us from seeing The Color Purple, even though we saw these interviews? No, we ran to the theater. Well, I didn't run because my left knee is bad. But no, I came and I saw it twice in one weekend. So if you want to check out The Color Purple, please do so and support the film. And like I said, I am going to be supporting the soundtrack because I love what I heard. And Fantasia, excellent job. You need to be active. You need to be in the films. I love that you came out and you did your thing as Miss Theater. Oprah and Whoopi and Danny and everyone a part of the original cast, Margaret, Avery, all of you all. You're probably saying, job well done. Well, this is Val the Voice Johnson. If you'd like to hear more, I'm gonna continue the conversation on Clubhouse. Come join me. I wish I had my moderators. I could put it in here and say, come join me on Clubhouse. But I'm going to continue the conversation. But this is the podcast of the Interludes podcast and Interludes Extra. Join me on Tuesday. Talk on Tuesdays. We'll be back on Tuesday, July. No, not July. I don't know why I'm trying to go to July. It's warmer in July. Go all the way to January 9th. And we'll be back 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And what is that? 6 p.m. on the Pacific coast. But I want to thank you guys for joining me on today. And so sorry I didn't have any visuals, but that's okay. And like I said, thank you so very much. We got the Clubhouse link above. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you, Queen Ursula. So if you want to continue the conversation, join us here. We'll be on for about an hour or so. But it's the after show and interludes all coming together. We're going to wrap up. And I thank you all for joining me. I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and we're out of here. Peace.